I'm Jade Simmons, and we're back for another episode of Emerge Already, tips to lessen the plight of the aspiring concert artist. So, you say you want management, but the question is, does management want you? We will get down to the business of making sure that you're dolled up enough to make managers take a second look. But before we talk about what it is that you need to do, you need to understand exactly what it is that a manager does. The easiest way to think of it is that a manager handles the day-to-day activities involved with managing your career as an artist. This is so that you can spend more time on the creative sides of things. For the most part, they're going to spend most of their time getting you engagements. They're going to handle the contract. They're going to make sure that your fee is negotiated properly. They're going to make sure that all the details and arrangements surrounding that concert that's coming up is handled. Here's what you want your manager to really spend time thinking about. You want them to sit down with you and make out a personalized strategy for your career. They're going to be looking for cross-promotional opportunities for you. They're going to look for specific ways to exploit all of the multiple facets of your artistic identity. We don't see this done well so much in the classical world, but when you look in the pop world, there's an easy example in the pop star Beyonce. Of course, we know her as a singer, and she got her start making a name for herself in the music industry, but she built her brand to the point that she was able to expand in the area of film. She produces her own projects. We see her as the face of multiple products as well, and her manager goes about making sure that everything that Beyonce does well, we see her doing it. So that's what an ideal manager will be able to do for you. They'll help you make the most out of your uniqueness as an artist. So now that you know what a manager is supposed to do, we need to find out if you're actually ready to have a manager. You will be ready for sure if you've done what we've been talking about for 3 episodes now, and that is that you're finding your niche, you're developing your brand as an artist, you're spending time developing your artistry, and making sure that all the unique aspects that you bring to the table are on display. And do you have that one marketable aspect that's going to make their job a whole lot easier? A potential manager may want to look for this next thing. It's definitely icing on the cake. And that is that they're going to look to see if you've made any sort of dent in the media. Are there feature stories being written about you? Are you mentioned in important articles on the arts? Do people know who you are? Would they find out that you actually had a presence in the world of music? Now, this last aspect is simply, are you manageable? All that means is, are you an agreeable artist, or is this manager going to have to worry about diva tendencies? A manager wants to know that he or she is going to have a good time representing you, and that what you bring to the table is going to be so exciting that he, as your manager, can't wait to tell the world about you. So we've decided that you are indeed ready for management. You need to decide what type of management is right for you. Now, there are competitions out there that many young artists can enter, and what they offer is a chance for young artists to come and compete for the chance to have concert management for sometimes an indefinite period of time. But if you aren't one of the lucky ones to win these competitions, you can still go about looking for management on your own. You need to look at 2 things. Do you want to be with a big firm or with a boutique firm? Now, when I say big firm, I'm talking ICM and Opus 3 and William Morris Agency, all these big names that bring to mind big dollar signs and big celebrity names. So, of course, the advantage of working with these big firms, if they take you on, is that you'll have access to all the extensive resources that they have access to. They're going to be able to help you develop your talent, especially if you're multi-talented, because they have divisions that work on all these various areas. The downside of working with a big firm is simply the fact that it's big, especially in the case of an emerging artist. Lots of times you will be lost in the shuffle because the attention paid is mostly going to go to the artists who already have big names, who already play big venues, who already have big record deals, because those are the artists that pay the bills for these big firms. So a boutique firm might be more of a right fit for you. A boutique agency is going to be a smaller niche agency that focuses on either a specific kind of artist, or they only sign a few artists to each genre or to each instrument. So there's not going to be tons of competition within the roster itself, and you may even be managed by the head of the firm. That's a great thing to have that kind of personalized attention. So the downside of working with a smaller firm is simply that they are smaller, which means sometimes they're going to be understaffed, or they're not going to have these multiple divisions that are able to help you branch out as an artist. So once you've weighed the pros and cons of a smaller versus a large firm, you need to figure out how in the world you're going to approach management. This is a very intimidating prospect. The main reason being that the way most management firms operate is under the assumption that if you're worth looking at, they'll already know about you and they'll already have their eye on you. For the most part, the way that a manager wants to be contacted is through word of mouth from another source that they actually trust. But if you don't want to wait around for that to happen, what you can do is reach out on your own. And there are a couple of ways that you can do this. The first thing I recommend is that you take a very personalized approach. You should know something about the backgrounds of the manager you're looking at. What kind of artists do they already represent? What kind of venues do they tend to book artists in? Do the artists that they represent look like you? Which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe they don't need another you, or maybe they are looking for someone specifically like you to fill a certain void that they have on their roster. When you do decide to approach a manager and you've researched their background, you know what it is they're looking for, you should be specific about what it is that you're looking for. You should also give them a reason of why you think that you and that manager would work well together. Maybe you could list one or two of the projects that you're working on that you think would be a great fit for that manager. Definitely send along a press kit, but make sure that it's one that stands out. Make sure that it's worth looking at, and I would definitely send an email beforehand to let them know this press kit is on the way, or even a phone call. Another really effective way of getting a manager's attention is by inviting them to a concert. Now, this just shouldn't be any run-of-the-mill concert. This should be a concert that you put time into. First of all, you know you're going to hit the ball out of the park when it comes to your own performance. This is repertoire that you're comfortable with. This is a program that's creative and unique and really reflects exactly who you are as an artist. Because if this manager takes the time out of her busy schedule to come to your concert, you want her to leave with a very correct impression of who you are as an artist. And don't just let it be about the concert. Take time and put effort into promoting this concert. You want your manager to know that you're able to put in work and to put in time and effort into making your career a success, because you're going to be asking them to do the same thing. Now let's say that this management firm has gotten your press kit, they love your introduction letter, and they give you a call and they want to talk further about the possibility of managing you. They're going to ask you things like, what is it that you're interested in? Where do you see your career moving in the next 3, 4, 5 years? And you want to be honest about what it is that you need as an artist. Now, here are things that I think you really need to understand as an artist before you get management. And I hate to tell you this, is that once you have management, it doesn't mean that all the work stops. What it actually means is that your work is just beginning. Now you're going to have to give continuous thought to where you want to go as an artist. You need to think of finding management as developing a relationship based on a partnership. This is a partnership where you're working with someone that you trust, and you're trusting that person to help guide you to where you want to be. Speaking of where you want to be, I know that next week you're going to want to be right back here for part 2 of this series on management. Next week we're going to be talking about what it takes to manage yourself. So see you back here next week, right here on Emerge Already.